Welcome back. So another dawn is just around the corner, and King Shahryar is, once again, completely hooked. He's caught in the incredible web of Shirazad's storytelling. We left off on the ninth night, right in the middle of this hilarious party game that had everyone just roaring with laughter. Now the king is leaning in, waiting, and Shirazad is ready to begin again. Let's find out what secrets the 10th night is hiding.
All right, so quick recap. A very lucky, or maybe unlucky, porter stumbles into this secret palace. He finds himself at this unbelievable party with three incredibly beautiful women. And after a lot of wine and music, they start this very creative naming game. When it's the porter's turn, he comes back with a reply that is just as witty and cheeky as you could imagine.
And with that, the women just erupt. They are howling with laughter, practically falling over themselves at how clever he is. He totally won the game. But you know, as the laughter starts to fade and the night gets deeper, that fun, playful mood of the party, it starts to change into something else. Something much, much darker. So the women tell the porter, okay, fun's over, it's time for you to go. But he's had the night of his life. He actually begs them, saying, the departure of my soul would be easier than my departure from you. I mean, how can you say no to that? They're charmed, so they agree to let him stay. But there's a catch, a very strict and very mysterious condition.
That was the rule. It was literally inscribed in gold right on the door, so you couldn't miss it. It's a pretty clear warning, right? The porter, desperate to stay, agrees immediately. He swears, I will not speak of what does not concern me. And at that exact moment, wouldn't you know it, there's a knock at the door.
And this is where the evening starts getting really strange. At the door are three dervishes, these wandering holy men, and they are all bizarrely identical. They all have shaven beards, and every single one of them is blind in their left eye. It's a seriously unnerving sight. The women let them in, but only after they promise to follow that exact same rule. Stay quiet and don't ask questions.
Oh, but the night isn't done yet, not by a long shot. There's another knock at the door. This time, it's three guys dressed up as merchants, saying they're lost and just need a place to stay. But here's the twist. These aren't just any merchants. It's the Caliph of Baghdad himself, Harun al-Rashid in disguise. And he's with his Grand Vizier Jafar and his royal executioner Masrur. They too are allowed inside, but only after they promise not to ask about anything they see.
So now we have a full house. But just as the party gets going again, the hostess stands up and announces that it's time for them to pay their dues. And just like that, it's like a switch flips. The entire feeling in the room just plummets. All the laughter stops, the music dies, and this heavy, somber tension just fills the air.
What happens next is it's absolutely shocking. The hostess has the porter help her bring in two black dogs. She takes out a whip and starts beating the first dog without mercy, just whipping it until the poor thing is whimpering and her own arms give out. But then she drops the whip, she hugs the dog, wipes its tears, and kisses its head. She does this exact same baffling, contradictory ritual with the second dog, leaving all 7 of her male guests completely stunned. And the mystery just keeps getting deeper. The hostess then asks one of the other women to fulfill her duty. This woman picks up a lute and starts playing this mournful, just heartbreaking tune. And the music is so full of sadness that it triggers this incredibly violent reaction. As she's playing the lute, one woman, then the other, and finally the hostess herself, they all cry out in this terrible grief. They tear open their robes and just collapse onto the floor in a faint. And that's when the real source of their pain is revealed. As their clothes fall away, the caliph and everyone else can see that their backs are just covered in scars. These thick, crisscrossed welts from a whip from al-Makari. They've been horribly, brutally scourged.
Okay, at this point, the guests have seen enough. I mean, the weeping, the dogs, and now these scars, it's all way too much. They start huddling together, whispering like crazy. That promise of silence they made? Yeah, it's cracking wide open under the weight of all these horrifying mysteries.
The Caliph's vizier, Jafar, he's the smart one. He's telling them, hey, leave it alone, we're guests, we promised. He's trying to remind them of that warning on the door. But the Caliph, well, he's the most powerful man in the world, and he is not used to being told no. He just declares, I have no patience left. His curiosity completely steamrolls his vizier's good sense. They all agree they have to ask.
So what do? They push the poor porter to the front and make him be their spokesman.
So he takes a deep breath, turns to the hostess, and shatters the golden rule of the house. He formally asks for the story behind the dogs, the tears, and the terrible scars. And that question just hangs there in the silent room.
The hostess doesn't answer his question. Instead, her face just turns to stone. Her voice is pure ice when she says, "You have greatly wronged us." She reminds them of their promise, that whoever speaks of what doesn't concern them will hear what does not please them. All that warmth and hospitality from before, it's completely gone, replaced by this cold, terrifying menace.
And then she turns, and without saying another word, she strikes her foot on the marble floor. Once, twice, 3 times. Each hit just echoes through the room like a countdown to doom.
And in response to her stomps, a hidden door slides open, and 7 enormous slaves step out, every one of them holding a huge drawn sword. In a flash, the power dynamic just completely flips. At her command, "Tie up these talkative ones," the slaves grab the 7 men, bind them all together, and leave them completely helpless. And this is right where Scheherazade stops her story for the night. The 7 men are tied up, totally at the mercy of this enraged hostess. The head slave steps forward, bows to her, and asks for the final command: "Permit us to strike their necks." Are they about to pay for their curiosity with their lives? And with that unbelievable cliffhanger, the dawn breaks, and the tale of the 10th night comes to an end.